Welcome everyone. Today we're gonna look at a very special game played between Mikhail Tal and his coach Alexander Koblents. In this game, Mikhail Tal was playing white and his coach Alexander Koblents was playing black. Now let's see how it unfolds. Okay? Mikhail Tal opens the game with e4 and Koblents replies with c5. Now this is the Sicilian defense. It's an advanced opening and we all know that when there is a Sicilian, there will be chaos. Now, let's see how the game unfolds. Mikhail Tal then plays knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight to f6, knight to c3, a6. This is all theory, and this particularly is the Nader variation of the Sicilian defense. Here, you can play whatever you want, like everything, there will be a new variation of the Knight of defense. Now, let's see what Mikhail Tal plays. Mikhail Tal, in this position, plays bishop to g5, developing his bishop and attacking the knight. Koblenz replies with e6. Tal plays f4. Now, f4 is an interesting move because today you will no longer see people playing f4 because normally people let's say like bishop to d3 or developing their bishop to c4 because of activity. But no, Mikhail Tal is different. Okay, he plays f4. Then we can see Alexander Koblents replies with bishop to e7 to stop the pin. Then we have queen to f3 because we can smell that Tal is already going for the attack. This is the preparation for the attack. In here, we can clearly see that Tal is planning to castle long side and Koblenz will have to castle short side. And we all know that when long side and short side castle happens, there will be chaos. Okay, both players will be going for each other's throat. Now, Koblenz develops his queen to attack the the queen side of Mikhail Tal, and then we can see Mikhail Tal going for the long castle. Then we have knight b to d7, supporting the knight, and then Tal developing his other bishop to a2 square. Then Alexander tries to kick out the bishop with h6, and Mikhail Tal plays bishop to h4. Then we have b5. Here you can see that Koblenz is clearly planning to attack Tal's king, but you know that you cannot attack the attacker, right? So Mikhail Tal goes for his own attack. He plays e5. Now e5 is a very interesting move. Why? Because we can clearly see that Tal's queen can be attacked, and Tal knew that. And also in the game, Koblenz attacked Tal's queen. Now what do you expect? Generally, you and me would go for something like queen to g3 or somewhere else so that we can maintain the attack, we can save our queen. Also, this queen to g3 move looks very good because we are also putting pressure on g7 square. Now, what does Mikhail Tal do? Mikhail Tal, being Mikhail Tal, he goes for e takes f6, sacrificing his queen for the bishop. Now, Koblenz accepts Tal's sacrifice, and also Tal takes back the bishop, attacking Koblenz's rook. Now, what do you think Koblentz played here? Because you can see that his bishop is getting attacked. Also, we can see that his rook is getting attacked. And it's a very basic rule that we all know that a rook is worth 5 points and a bishop is worth only 3 points. So, Koblenz plays d5, protecting his bishop. Now, what do you think Tal played here? In this position, instead of taking the bishop, Tal goes for another sacrifice. Mikhail Tal plays knight takes e6. Why? Because he wants to open up his Koblenz king and attack him. This was the beauty of Tal's game. Now, Koblenz takes, and then we have check. Koblenz plays g6. Tal takes it with check, and then Koblenz plays king to f8. Now, how do you progress from here? Well, it's easy. You just take the bishop. It's another check, and now Koblenz is attacking Tal's bishop. bishop. Okay. Now we have bishop to g3, sacrificing that bishop. Well, actually, this is not a sacrifice because this is a simple tactic. Here you can see if Koblenz takes the bishop, Tal can easily play f5 check, and his queen is gone. Now, what do you think Koblenz played here? In this position, Koblenz goes for knight to f6. He doesn't take the pawn. Also, sorry, he doesn't take the bishop. Also, he stops the promotion by some a little bit. Now we have rook h to e1. He's clearly wanting to promote the pawn. Now we have b4, attacking Tal's other knight. Now, what do you think happened here? Mikhail Tal, always being Mikhail Tal, he goes for rook takes e6, sacrificing his another knight, and Koblenz takes. Now, look at this position. You have basically a bishop for a queen because Koblenz and Tal both have two rooks, and we all know that knight is worth 3 point. Also, a bishop is also worth 3 point. So we can safe to say it cancels out. The only thing we have here is a bishop for a queen. For normally for you and me, it's a very dangerous position because we would have panicked and maybe resent the game. But no, not Mikhail Tal. He keeps pressuring on. We have f5, securing the bishop and the rook, and then we have queen to b7, attacking Tal's king. And we all know attacking the attacker is not good. Here, this was a very bad move for Koblenz. Here, you will see the following. Mikhail Tal plays b3, stopping the attack, and then we see that Koblenz playing queen to d7. Now, what would you do here? Generally, we can think like so many different type of things, but let's say like doubling the rooks, which is a very good idea, but no. Here we have to keep attacking. We cannot slow down a little bit. We have to stop their activities. Here's how we do it. With a like Mikhail Tal, we play bishop to e5, pinning the knight to the king, and then we have queen takes e6. Why? Because the attack is getting dangerous for Mikhail Tal. Sorry, not for Mikhail Tal, for Alexander Koblents. If Tal takes the queen, he loses his other bishop, and which is equal because you know the rook is worth 5 point and the bishop is worth 3 points, so which is total is 8, and the queen is worth 9, 1 point difference. But you know the Koblenz is up some material, so it's good for him. Now, what do we see here? Mikhail Tal is basically down a rook. In this position, normally you and I would have lost. Like 99% of the population would have lost here. But no, not Tal. He keeps on the attack. His knight, sorry, not his knight, Koblen's knight is pinned to the rook. So he just increases the pressure on the knight. Koblenz retreats the knight so that he can sacrifice his rook for the bishop, and it happens. Now, what move should be played here? You cannot promote due to the rook, so you put the rook here, and rook takes f8. Tal takes the rook and promotes to another queen, and then we have knight taking the f8 queen. Now, you may think that this position is winning for black. Why? Because he has a knight. No, it's not. Because after you push the pawn can only be stopped by the king. So what happens? He loses the knight. And the king is out of the game. How? Look at this position. Tal has three pawns together. These are connected pawns. And Koblenz, the pawns are scattered. These are called pawn islands, okay? Like here you can see that two pawns can defend each other. This single pawn is alone. The a6 pawn is also alone. But Tal, three are connected and these two are connected. So in this position, Alexander Koblents resigned the game. Why? Because Tal will play d1, then Koblenz he will try to, like, let's say, play e7. This is just an example of how the game would end. Now whatever you do, this position is lost. Why? Because Tal will slowly come over this side. Koblenz may try to defend, but in this case the d4 pawn will be taken. And let's say he brings the king, then Mikhail Tal will capture the pawn and it's over. Why? Because we have three pawns versus one, and this one of these three pawn will easily promote no matter what you do. So that's why Koblenz resigned, and the magician from Riga, as always, won the game. Thanks